Welcome to Delta Lodge Outdoors. I am your host, Julius. This is a podcast to not only entertain, but to occasionally teach new things. I may be the only one learning, but at least we're going to have some fun trying to do it along the way. Thank y'all. Hey everybody, welcome to Delta Lodge Outdoors. We're recording this one on January the 18th. It should come out about I should have knew this. Hey, so Brant and I are headed back from a little late winter, early spring, I guess.
March 6th.
March 6th, scouting. We a little bit for turkey season, and just getting on some deer sign and checking the area out. We actually saw a nice 6 to 8 point, which is surprising. Surprising to me, he still had horns, because I forget about how Louisiana deer are since I'm not used to being here anymore. All my deer in Oklahoma had lost their horns by like mid-January, and so I was antlerless by mid-January. Which later on in the podcast I'll actually talk about why the majority of deer in like Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and a lot of those states grow larger than Louisiana deer, and it's not just what they can eat. And when it's and I'll get into that in a minute. So Brant, we hit a WMA, that you might get to hunt some this summer, and Brant's heard me talk about copy, paste, and repeat. Copy, paste, and repeat. And I don't think he really understood what I meant until I showed him a couple areas today, then sent him farther down a trail on his own. And what'd you figure out, Brant?
Pretty much the same thing, same signs. It's pretty much textbook, the same exact thing over and over again.
And it didn't matter what side of the WMA you were on. Once you saw that 3 or 4 times, we went to 2, 3 different areas.
Yeah,
that were set up the same. And what did you see?
Same exact thing. It really doesn't matter if it's pine oak flats, marsh, flooded timber, or thicket. It's pretty much textbook the same exact thing.
Once you find what they're doing for those, like say if it's big pines to a small cutover, once you figure out what their transitions is and what they're doing, you can go to anywhere on that place. And not just that, a lot of these guys, they will go like out of state if it duplicates. Like if all their deer are on transitions between mature pines and a 3-year-old clear cut, and they're doing that, and they're transitioning in certain elevation drops, like it's just a 2-foot drop, it's not much, like it's a minimum drop, they will literally go look for that anywhere. It won't even be in the same state, and they can duplicate this process.
Yeah. And
that's what I was explaining to Brant. I think I've been explaining it over and over, and like he thought I was crazy, and then he got on probably 3 to 4 different patterns today.
Yeah, definitely a lot of good food sources, water source. Not too much that matters in here.
No, it'll change up some. It'll change up some. This was just to get boots on the ground and drop some points on some areas of interest. And
found a guy's old spot. Obviously, he was hunting on a creek. Pretty cool to see.
And it was like 3 rubs right around his within
area.
20 yards of his stand.
Yep, they got a lot of really nice transitions. You look on a Google map and it looks completely different than what it does in person for sure. So that's why it's important to get out there.
Yeah, that's the boots on the ground make the big difference. And I think he feels confident now with going out there without me, and because he dropped pins on his points when he get back to them without a problem.
Yeah.
And checked them out, and I think I told him I would hit it again about June, July, and see if the deer shift over some for summer pattern. Then I think about 2 weeks before season, mid-September, I would rough check it. I wouldn't go trouncing through the top of it, but
put eyes on it, and that'll let you know which one of the main 3 or 4 spots I would hit first to hunt. There was one really nice area. It has a good food source for when deer season's in, during that time of the first swing. And
it's set up a little different than everything around it. And I really think that's going to be
high opportunity.
I think that's going to be a killer spot. I think that's going to be a good kill spot because of the stuff I saw and everything around it. Then another area we were going into is where we saw that 6 to 8 point. He was actually just walking up the trail looking at us when we saw him. And so saw plenty of signs, saw one deer. Like when we left, we saw what, 4 turkeys?
4 nice turkeys. Yeah, well, hopefully we got a good video of them. We got some pretty cool videos. Thankfully, no snakes.
Yeah, I was, pleasantly surprised because I love my snake boots. They're still in Oklahoma because I don't need them in San Antonio right now.
I mean, deer tracks everywhere.
Yeah, actually, walking back out, they had deer tracks in our boot tracks from 8:30 this morning.
Pretty crazy.
So
2 hours later.
Yeah, so that wasn't,
not a bad sign.
Not a bad thing. So I think we picked up on some good sign that that Brant can build from. But he also has it where now, because I do a lot of e-scouting, and I haven't put boots on the ground in that place in 3 years, and I walked it with my 2 little boys. They're 10 and 12 now, so they were 7 and 9 when I walked it. No, it's been 4 years ago, so they were 6 and 8, and we walked it in like February. But when I pulled my phone out, and I had points of interest, and I never got off the trails with my sons, but I had points of interest off the trails, 50 yards in the woods, 200 yards in the woods, and from what I've done on e-scouting, and we literally walked to those, and every one of them had sign on them, huh, Brant?
Yep, even 3 years later. Looked a little different, though. I think he didn't have quite as much time fighting the briars and...
Well, the ones we went to in the woods, I had never been to them. I just walked the trails. That was just points I dropped on the computer that I wanted to go to, and I didn't take the boys in the woods.
Yeah.
So, because I told him, I said, well, he said, what you got marked there? I said, well, it says POI number 1, like point of interest number 1, point of interest number 2.
Yep.
He said, well, what does that mean? I said, I don't know. I said, I put it in there 4 or 5 years ago, but I didn't label it, so I have no clue other than it's a point of interest I was interested in looking at.
Yep.
So, luckily I've gotten better since then about how I label all my shit. So now I actually know what I'm looking at when I go, like, before I ever go out there. Oh, well, this is a transition, or this is, a elevation change or whatever. So I've gotten better at that. But I think the biggest thing Brant learned today was
repetition.
Well, not just that. Going into the when I was like, we went to walking down that trail and you wanted to go into the big woods, the big pines. And he's like, what you think? And I'm like, I personally wouldn't waste my time because there's no defined area. We need to find the transitions between point A and B over here. Yep, straight. So yeah, we're driving again. We're actually headed back from scouting now, so every now and then he's got to ask for directions. But
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, you just be surprised what you think is going to look good on a map, and then you get out there and it is not what...
Hey, I had one area that, according to the map, and I showed Brant, it's a different aerial view. It is a different type of tree than the pine trees that are around it. We couldn't find it. But in the picture, even he looks at it. It's different.
Oh yeah. Really thought it was going to be a good transition with some oaks and in between a whole bunch of pines. But in person, it looked like just nothing but pine trees.
Yeah, so that was a surprise because I'm like, something's, I was like, yeah, let me. I was like, when we get back at your house where I can get on the computer and see it better, I'll change some stuff up and
blow it up and just
change my overlay and see what I'm looking for. And that's the biggest thing. Like, people talk e-scouting. I do a lot of it, especially with fishing, but I do it with hunting. And
it makes a difference for sure.
Yeah, so so Brant's been on a WMA with me in North Louisiana and now South Louisiana, and it's 2 totally different spots. Like, they don't hunt nothing like each other.
You think you'd be in 2 different states, honestly. Hunting 2 different types of animals.
Yeah, you're hunting the deer what we're looking for deer there up in where we hunt in North Louisiana compared to the one down here is 2 totally different setups. And You can't copy and paste information from one of those to the other one. But you can take what we did today to about 4 other WMAs and locate deer without a problem, I believe. And that's what was. You're gonna turn by the new store, take a left and take a right.
Okay.
So that's what we was entertaining to like get the boots on the ground and we hadn't been in the woods together since the first week of October.
Yep. Since hunting season.
So this was
sure.
6, 7 months.
It's been a while.
6 months, I think.
For you haven't been in the woods probably.
I haven't set foot in the woods since December, but you remember when I changed jobs, I spent the whole month of December at home. Take it right. So I spent the whole month at home in December and hunted a good bit and everything. And we were talking about him killing 2 does this year. I actually killed a decent 10 point this year. My youngest son picked at me because he asked me what I shot, and he texted me, "What'd you shoot? Was that you?" I said, "Yeah." I was like, "I shot a doe." Then I was texting with Brant and Ty. Told them I shot a doe. And about 30 minutes later, I sent y'all a picture of me holding a 10 point.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You shot another one?" I'm like, "Nope, that's my doe." Like, I shot the deer like close to 200 yards. It was facing me, and I never looked at the top of its head. And I shot it in the throat looking at me. And literally said I shot a doe. So Hunter was like, "Damn, Dad, I think you need to get your eyes checked again." But what I started off talking about was antler growth. And something that I've listened to and it makes sense, like deer antlers, they lose their antlers. So once they lose them, there's no hormone. That's usually once the hormones have dropped where they're not reproducing, like they're not trying to breed does anymore, is when they drop antlers. So if your doe to ratio buck is closer and and what it needs to be, your bucks lose their antlers sooner because all the does are bred and the testosterone and hormones levels go down, so the antlers drop. So since they're not using any of that anymore, all the nutrients at that point goes to fixing their body issues. So if he got hurt, if he needs to beef back up after breeding season, any of that, he will not start producing any antler growth until his body is healthy enough. So theoretically, if a buck loses his horns mid-January, that means, and buck A loses them January 15th, buck B loses them March 1st. 2 different groups, A and B.
Yeah.
So that A group has a month and a half that he's eating and beefing back up from breeding season and everything else. So his antler growth, he's going to have a longer growing period because he's going to get healthier sooner. So group B that doesn't lose theirs until March, they have to eat and get beefed back up before they start regrowing their antlers. So
they must have plenty of does where we just came from because
yeah.
he still had his rack.
See, and that's where you can look and see if your buck to doe ratio's off when your bucks are dropping antlers. And if he's getting the nutrition he needs sooner into his body and getting healthier, then it means he's gonna grow his antlers sooner rather than later. And but even if so if it takes a month and a half if it takes 1 month for both parties to get healthy, well, by mid-February, early March, Group A's starting to see antlers. They're done. They already growing their antlers. So now they have March, April, May, June, July, start of August. They got a 4 to 5 month growing period. Group B that lost theirs March 1st, and he's got a month. He doesn't start till April. So he's a month and a half behind. So he lost. So in a deer, what is it? They can grow an inch a day. I think's the numbers.
Don't ask me. I'd have to do my research.
Yeah, it's like an inch a day. So if Group A's got 30 more days, 45 more days to grow, obviously he should grow more antler size.
20 to 30 inches.
Yeah, and that's why certain states that do a better
management
practices.
Yeah, definitely.
Have,
especially on the nose.
It's like, I laugh because Oklahoma has this saying. Sorry, I got sidetracked. There's a feeder and a box stand about 150, 200 yards off the side of a highway.
That's generous. That thing was like 50 yards.
No, it was closer to 200. It was still probably way too close. But sorry, that's why I laugh when I moved to Oklahoma because they have this saying, hunters in the know take a doe. And I'm like, what kind of shit's that? That's weird.
Don't tell my dad that.
Oh yeah, he's a doe slayer. And so oddly enough, you look at their antler loss area, and then you look at the size of deer, and there's a correlation to it. So that was where I was going with that when I opened up this podcast, and I got sidetracked, so I figured I might as well explain it.
Yeah.
But I want to say it was Mississippi State College that talked about that. I could be wrong. That's a Baton Rouge cop, and he lives there.
Keeping people honest.
Yep.
But yeah, Mississippi State is the college you were saying?
Yeah, they have a hell of a deer program, and they do a pretty good podcast. And Dr. Benson Street.
Oh.
Benson maybe? Bronson Reed maybe?
Biologist?
Yeah. And side note on that, the dump trailer I have, Brant, came from their deer program. I bought it through auction from their deer program.
Oh, that's funny.
And it still has like Mississippi State Bulldogs faded out on it. So but yeah, that's you can learn a lot on their antler growth through those guys and the stuff they do, and they're also the ones that did the study on with clear cuts with the nitrate levels and all that.
Yeah.
That if an area is clear cut, the following year the deer will be bigger because the nitrates that used to be out of their reach.
Next 2 years, basically.
Yeah,
continues over.
Yeah,
But you're gonna do a podcast on that at some point too. That's in the works.
Yeah, we'll break theirs down a little more, but really good information. But I think that kind of sums up our scouting trip. I think Brant's excited about what he saw.
Absolutely.
And then that was that little tidbit of information I couldn't start without having to explain. So
once you dive in, you're in. So
yeah.
You might as well finish it.
So all right, well, thank y'all. Have a good one. Julius Craig, Delta Lodge Outdoors. I got Brant David here with me. Brant,
yes, sir.
Like we say, introduce somebody to the outdoors. You never know. Thanks. Hey, thanks everybody for listening. That one, was a little loud. We were driving in Brant's truck, and it's a lifted F-150 with big mud tires on it. We appreciate y'all. We've got some more coming out together soon. Should have one of our buddies on with us that we should be doing the Kansas hunt with this year, and just hoping to get a lot more in depth with some more guests and everything. And thank y'all for your time. Delta Lodge Outdoors.
From the woods to the water, from hunting to fishing, in the delta to the mountains, all about the outdoors.